Hey everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel. This story ain't over. So today I'm coming to you with a new video. It's been a while since I've posted a video and I'm sorry, but I've just been busy. So today I'm coming to you with the mid-year book freakout tag. I did this tag last year and I had a lot of fun with it, and I feel like it's a really good way of kind of figuring out where you are with your reading at this point in the year, because we are 6 months into the year. We are onto the 7th month. It's almost July and I just can't handle that right now, but it's okay. I'm gonna answer some questions about the books that I've read for the first half of the year and tell you some highlights and some non-highlights as well. Okay, so the first question gets right to the point. What is the best book you've read so far this year? So I read a lot of great books this year, but I think one that really stands out to me is The 11 Lies of Rukhsana Ali by Sabina Khan. This is one that I read really early in the year and I just absolutely fell in love with. I went into it with high expectations and was still astounded and blown away. I was crying while reading this. I was laughing while reading this. There was just so many amazing parts to it. Basically, it follows our main character, Rukhsana Ali, who is a Muslim Bengali girl living in America, and she's kind of whisked away to Bangladesh, where her parents are from, to see her grandmother who's ill, and also as kind of a punishment when her parents find out that she's gay, that she's a lesbian, and that she has a girlfriend. There's a lot that goes on in this book. It's a very intense book as well, so I urge you to just be cognizant of the triggers that you might face in this book. It can be very homophobic at some points. Not the book, but the characters in the book, you know, the horrible people that Rukhsana faces. But above it all, it's also a very heartwarming book as well. Rukhsana, you know, reconnects with her culture, with her family in Bangladesh, and it was just so sweet, and I absolutely loved it. And seeing her family kind of show their love and support for her towards the end was just absolutely amazing. So I definitely recommend this. It was just such a great book, and if you've watched my previous videos and some of my vlogs, you know I absolutely love this book. I've been gushing about it for the past 6 months, so just go read it. All right, the next question is the best sequel you've read so far this year. So I have only read a couple sequels, not very many, but the one that obviously comes to mind for me is The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the sequel to The Cruel Prince, which I also read this year and absolutely loved. I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole of this series and absolutely fell in love with it, so I just really liked this sequel as well. I also felt like this one was a little bit better paced than the first book, so I really enjoyed it in that way. If you don't know, this is a really hyped series on BookTube. It's a fantasy. It's kind of like an urban fantasy, not really. It's about a girl and her siblings who end up growing in fairy, so the magical world of fairy, and end up adopting the fairy lifestyle and want to be a part of it. And so Judah's a very cutthroat character, and she is one of the things that I absolutely loved about the series. So I am very excited for the third book that comes out in November, I believe. It's called The Queen of Nothing, so super excited for that. But yeah, that was a great sequel. All right, the third question is a new release that you haven't read yet but you want to. So a new release that I have and I haven't read yet is Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So this is the duo that brought us the Illuminae files, which I absolutely love. If you know, it's one of my favorite series in the world. I absolutely love sci-fi stories as well. So this is another sci-fi. It follows a ragtag crew of teens from a space academy who are brought together to kind of save the universe, and they're not really who everyone wanted to save the universe, but they're just the people that everyone could get. So I'm really excited to read this. I've heard some really great things about it. I'm also just really excited about it because Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff's sense of humor is just my favorite, so I really enjoy everything that they write. So I'm really excited for this. Okay, question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I already have a video up for this of my most anticipated releases for the rest of the year, so you can go check that out. I'll link that on the screen or down below, but I will just let you know 2 of them. I think my most anticipated ones, the ones that I really cannot wait to read. The first one is Rebel by Marie Lu. This is just the sampler that I got at BookCon, but it's basically the 4th book in the Legend series. It's the one that she decided to write after ending the trilogy, so I'm very excited to read it. I'm also super excited to read it because of the sampler. After reading the sampler, I am convinced it's gonna be great, so I'm really excited to read it. If you didn't attend BookCon and you didn't get one of these, I believe it's also available online. She put up the sampler online, so you can go read it and check it out if you wanted to. And then of course the other book that I cannot wait to read is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is Leigh Bardugo's new adult fantasy series, and it follows our main character Alex Stern, who's kind of given a second chance and given an opportunity to go to Yale to uncover kind of the secret occult activities that are going on with the secret societies at Yale. So I'm super excited to read it. I think it's going to be amazing. I unfortunately did not get an arc of it at Book Expo or BookCon, so I'm very sad about that, but it's fine. I have pre-order for it. It's coming out the day before my birthday, and I'm just gonna have a wild time with it. All right, question number 5 is your biggest disappointment of the year. So this is gonna be a surprise based on my previous answer where I said I really can't wait to read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. The only reason that this is coming up as a disappointment for me is just because I had such high expectations for it. Objectively, it's not a bad book. It's a great book, actually. I really enjoyed it, but I was disappointed because I was expecting something different from it, and that book is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. I have a full review up for this, so go check that out, but mainly I think I was just disappointed with this because the focus of the book was less on Nikolai, like not as much on Nikolai as I was expecting. So Nikolai is the character from the Shadow and Bone trilogy who is the main character in this book, but he didn't really feel like the main character because he was sidelined for a lot of parts, and I feel like there was a lot of focus on many of the other characters and the other perspectives in the book. But regardless, I still enjoyed it. I still gave it a 4 stars. I liked it. It's just I was disappointed by it the most because I had the highest expectations for this book. But I still love Leigh. I still love the characters. I still love the series and everything. It just wasn't what I was expecting. Number 6 is the biggest surprise of the year. So for me, that was definitely The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I mentioned Shadow the Wicked King was my favorite sequel, and this was a really big surprise for me just because I went into it not really expecting to like it. I had read like the first couple chapters before and tried to read it and then didn't really like it. And then I tried picking it up again like this time around this year and just kind of fell into it. After you get past the like 30% mark, I feel like that's when you really get sucked in, and that's how it was for me. So it was a huge surprise, also just because the characters kind of present themselves in one way at the beginning and they totally end up being something else later on. So that was just really interesting to me as well. I just really enjoyed it, and I'm like so invested in the series and I just really need to know what happens. So yeah, that was the biggest surprise for me. All right, number 7 is your favorite new author. So this can be a debut or a author that's new to you. So for me, I decided to go with Taylor Jenkins Reid, who is the author of Daisy Jones and the Six, and also The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So I actually read both of those books this year. I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in January, I believe, and I read this around the time that it came out, and I just really enjoyed both of them. I had heard all the hype for both books, so I went into them like knowing the hype, but I still really enjoyed them, and I think that she's a new author that I really enjoy, and I definitely read anything else that she puts out. I also read one other book by her. It's called One True Loves. I didn't love that as much as these two, but I did enjoy it a lot as well. So really like her. I feel like most of her books are kind of romances. They do feature a heavy kind of love story in them, so I think that's one of the reasons why I liked it. And they're also adult books, so I don't usually read a lot of adult fiction, and I feel like I want to, so that's why she's my new fave. Number 8, newest fictional crush. So I feel like I keep mentioning this series because there's just so many things to talk about it, but my new fictional crush is obviously Cardan from The Cruel Prince, because he's amazing and just horrible also, and that's apparently my type. No, I just really like Cardan, and yeah, I just can't really explain it. He's just Cardan. All right, number 9 is your newest favorite character. So mine is going to be Lila from The Gilded Wolves. I really loved Lila, and I actually really loved a lot of the characters in this book, but I specifically like Lila because she's South Asian like me, and also just her culture and her heritage really comes through in her story. She talks about doing Bharatanatyam, which is a traditional form of dance that I used to do as well, but also Lila's just a very caring character. She loves to bake, and I also just love seeing how much she cares about the other characters in the book, and just seeing her like look after them was just so sweet. I just think she's just a wonderful character. So like if I had to choose like someone to like pull out of a book and like be my friend, like Lila would be that person. I also just kind of have a crush on her because she's amazing. All right, number 10 is a book that made you cry. So I could go with The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali for this one, but since I already mentioned that, I'm also going to mention Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. This book made me cry so hard towards the end of the book. You will know why if you read the book. Towards the end, this book really made me cry. I was just like bawling, and I just couldn't stop for a little bit. So I had to like put the book down, but it was amazing, and I absolutely love this book. And I would definitely recommend it to anyone who suffers from any kind of anxiety. That is a big part of this book. Eliza is this online content creator. She creates this web comic, and she has this huge following, but she can't really deal with the anxiety of anyone finding out that she is the creator of this giant web comic. And so when people do find out, she is kind of crushed by it. And it's just this whole crazy journey, but yeah, towards the end it was very intense, and I was just crying a lot. All right, number 11 is a book that made you happy. So I'm going with Aoharu Ride by Ayosaki Saka. This is a manga. It's a shoujo manga, so it's absolutely the most adorable thing on the planet. I picked it up because of Ashley from Ashley Outpage. I absolutely loved it. It's a very cute kind of romance-ish story. It follows these two characters who met when they were younger, and they end up getting separated for quite a few years, and then they meet again in high school, and they realize that the other person has become a very different person, and so they're trying to see, you know, where things changed and why they changed, and kind of trying to unravel that mystery, but also falling for each other a little bit, and it's absolutely adorable, and it just made me so happy reading it. All right, number 12 is your favorite book to movie adaptation you saw this year. So I don't think I've actually seen any. The only one that comes to mind is for Something Borrowed. I watched the movie on Netflix just like one night. It's like a rom-com, and I really like rom-coms, so I watched that, but I've never actually read the book, and I believe it's based off of Something Borrowed by Emily Griffin. It's an adult contemporary romance novel. I've never read it. I don't really plan on reading it, but the movie was kind of fun, so yeah, that's the only one I've watched, unfortunately. All right, number 13 is your favorite video that you've done this year. So I'm not very good at like appreciating my own stuff. I feel like usually when I post a video, like I really like it right after I post it, and like for the first few days after that, and then like I look at it like a week later and I absolutely hate it, but whatever. But one that I really did enjoy kind of making and filming and seeing people's comments for was the reading vlog that I did, where I unhauled a bunch of books and I went to the bookstore. I just had a lot of things going on, and it was just a lot of fun, so I enjoyed filming that one. All right, number 14 is the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. So I'm gonna go with We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. I love this cover. It is so gorgeous. It's a fantasy inspired by ancient Arabia, and I actually got this in the Indigo book box, so I have a full unboxing video for that, so I'll link that down below. But I had a lot of fun like unboxing it and also just seeing this gorgeous thing. I also got some really beautiful bookmarks with it, so I was really happy about that as well. So very gorgeous, and I can't wait to read this as well. All right, and then the last question, number 15, is what books would you like to read by the end of the year? So I have so many books that I need to read by the end of the year, and I'm not going to sit here and list all of them, but I will say that I especially want to read all of the ARCs that I got at Book Expo and BookCon before the end of the year, and hopefully before some of those books come out. I also have just like in general a ton of unread books in this shelf right here. So I really want to read those as well. I'm trying to cut down on my unread books. We'll see if I can get through a bunch of them this summer. I have a good feeling about it, but we'll see. But that is about all I have to say. So let me know in the comments any of your answers to any of the questions that were in this tag. If you want to do this tag, go and do it. It's the perfect time of year to be doing it. But I guess the question that I would love for you all to answer is, what is the best book that you've read this year? I would love to know. Recommend me your favorites from this year so I can go pick them up. I hope you enjoyed this tag. I enjoyed filming it and just thinking about the books that I've read so far this year. It's been a lot. I think I've read so far about 48 books this year, which is like pretty normal for me in the past like couple years. In the past couple years I've been reading about 100 books each year, or that's like the goal I try to hit, but I'm okay with like hitting less or more. Like it's not the biggest deal. About 3 years ago, before BookTube and everything, I used to read about like 40 to 60 books a year, so I'm pretty good on track. A lot of those were manga as well, so they don't take as long, and some of them were graphic novels as well. So I'm hoping to increase the number of novels that I read. Some of them were plays as well, yeah. But yes, here's to reading more during 2019, and I will see you in my next video. So thank you so much for watching, and please remember that this story ain't over. Bye!